Hey, what's up guys? Lately I've been getting a few requests asking me how I got the tones for a couple of Juice WRLD videos that I've done, specifically for Wishing Well and for Come and Go. So in this video I'm just going to go through how I got those tones and how you can do it at home as well. I'm going to start with Wishing Well. If you're more interested in Come and Go, skip ahead to here and I'll go through it there. So for a lot of my tutorial videos I actually use something called an 11 rack to record. And that's an amp modeler, so basically that has a bunch of different amp sounds and a lot of different effects and everything as well. And I just record straight through that into the computer. So this is what it looks like here. So as you can see, I'm on a tweed setting at the moment. So basically that's a clean Fender amplifier. And you can kind of see all the controls there. I've just got the mid and bass up a little bit and the treble down a bit, because they can tend to be a little bit bright and a little bit trebly. If I come over here, this is where I control the effects through this thing, so I've got some delay and some reverb. The effects 1 and 2 is just a compressor as well, and also a bit more EQ, but you don't really need to worry about that if you've got the clean amp there. And so that all together gives you this tone. Now on my Strat here, so I'm using single coil pickups, and these are Fat 50s, which are a little bit less trebly, a little bit less bright than a lot of other Stratocaster style pickups. I'm actually using the second position here, so I'm using the bridge and the middle together, and that gives that nice sort of crystally bell-like sort of tone, I suppose. My volume is up at full, and I've actually rolled down the tone a little bit. It's about 6 at the moment. Now this is my old Epiphone Les Paul 100. It's got super old strings on it, and I don't really use that anymore, but this is my first real guitar, so it's good to kind of keep around. And I know for a lot of you guys, something like this is more of what you're going to be using. So something with humbuckers, maybe something that's not quite as expensive as the Fender Stratocaster there. Now humbuckers are much higher output. So even with the same sort of settings on your amplifier, you're likely to possibly get a little bit of overdrive or a little bit of unwanted distortion. So what I recommend to get something a little bit closer to a Stratocaster style guitar sound is pop it into your middle position here. So using both these pickups together. Then just roll down your volume, let's say about 6 or 7 on each pickup. And what that'll do is actually change the tone, make it a little bit weaker sounding before it actually changes the volume there. And so exactly the same amp settings, but just using the middle position here and rolling down the volume a bit. Just like that. You can also, if you want to, use your neck pickup, but that's going to sound a lot warmer, a little bit meatier than your single coil pickups. Now most of you aren't going to have an 11 rack or an Axe Effects or something similar to that. So if we just want to do this through an amplifier, this is how we're going to do it. So behind me here, I don't know how well you can see this, but I've got a Fender Super 60. So it's a nice clean sort of amplifier. And I'm actually recording through this, which is called an aux box. Now this is new, I'm just borrowing this from a friend at the moment, so I'm still trying to kind of get the gist of it. And so there is actually a little bit more distortion than what I'm putting through there. So just bear with me on that. Just follow the instructions rather than the actual sound, and it's going to sound a little bit closer to it, a little bit better for you. So this is Amplifier here, and we can kind of see the controls that I've got here. So volume's up about the middle. That's an overdrive channel. I'm ignoring that, I'm not using that at the moment. Treble up a bit. This can tend to be quite a dark amplifier. Middle up and bass up a little bit as well. Treble about halfway up. Now this is going to change depending on whatever amp that you're using. This is just a nice sort of neutral sound that works well with this particular one. And so that's going to give me this sound. So as I said, a nice neutral sound, but it is missing a little bit of something. It's missing that reverb and that delay. So this is my guitar pedal board. It's a little bit of a mess at the moment, but it gets the job done. And what we're focusing on at the moment is this pedal here. That's my delay pedal. And this one here as well, which is my reverb. So with the delay pedal, what we want here is quite a short delay, or what also can be called a slapback. So you can see the flashing light here, that's how fast my delay is. If I turn this on, that's going to sound like this. So just a really quiet sort of delay there. I might actually turn that mix up a little bit for this song here. And just a little bit of feedback there as well, so that's getting about 3 echoes, I suppose. Now the other thing I've got here is just a little bit of modulation. So what that's doing is just adding a little bit of a chorus effect onto the actual repeats themselves. So that's why I have suggested to a few people, if you don't have a modulation effect on your delay, just add a little bit of chorus instead and also give a similar sort of effect, just a very subtle sort of chorus. Now the other one that I'm going to add now is the reverb. So this Hall of Fame Mini, now this is a digital reverb, and what you can actually do here is go into the app and choose your setting. Now the one I've got is a really cool one because if you turn the reverb down low, you get a really sort of subtle, natural sort of reverb. Turn up high, and it's a really sort of modulated reverb. And that's probably going to be my reverb for that. And that's how I sound throughout the whole thing. So that's Wishing Well, guys. Hope that really helped you. Feel free to leave any more questions you might have in the comments as well. Now on to Come and Go. Now in my original tutorial it did what I was kind of talking about before, and there's a little bit more distortion than I actually wanted in the clean part. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use the same settings that I used for Wishing Well and use that for the clean part in Come and Go. Now for our power chord section, all I'm using here is one pedal. If you take a look back at my pedal board again, I've got this MI Audio Super Crunch Box here. So I'm just going to turn that on. This is my volume here and my gain here. So gain's about middle. Volume is turned down a little bit. It can get to be quite a loud pedal. I've also got on high gain mode there, and the compression setting is on 1, which is the least amount of compression. Presence and tone, roughly about the middle, just turned down a little bit. So I've got that pedal on now, I've turned off the delay, turned off the reverb, and all my amp settings are actually the same. Now the other thing I might just do here is switch on to the bridge position. Now you might hear that bit of hum there. That's because we're not getting a hum cancelling effect that we normally have if we combine two pickups together. It's just a single coil pickup, which is always going to have some hum there. Now our first lead part, I'm actually just going to add a second overdrive pedal on top of that. And this is what's known as a mid-boosting overdrive, which means the mid-frequencies, which is where the guitar sits naturally, get pushed a little bit more than the bass and the treble. And so that's going to make the guitar stand out more and actually make it more compressed and more of that sort of lead tone that we know and love. So that's this super overdrive here. Now you can see I've actually turned the drive down and the level up. And so what that's going to do is just push those mid-frequencies, add a bit more compression, but not add too much more actual distortion there. So that's going to sound like this. Now to get that tone, I've actually also moved to the 4th position here. So using these two pickups together. And that just makes it sound a little bit smoother, gets rid of the hum, it's not as coarse or rough, it's just using the bridge pickup. Now if you've got a fuzz pedal, a fuzz face or a big muff, doesn't really matter what type, I think to get close to the actual original tone in the actual song, if you can get a really nice sort of synthy tone out of that, that would be ideal. I don't have a fuzz pedal, so that's why I'm kind of combining the overdrives and distortions together. Now for the last two lead parts, I'm actually adding my 3rd overdrive pedal on here, which isn't something I normally do, not something I normally recommend doing. Again, get a lot of background noise, and it's usually too much sort of compression for a regular environment. But for this song, because it's a very compressed part, I think it works well. And so that's this BB preamp here. It's a bit glossy, can't really tell what's going on here. But this is my gain here. This is my treble, that's down a little bit, and bass up just a tad, volume down a bit, because this does add a bit of volume, this pedal. So now that's on, you can probably hear that background noise there, a little bit more buzzing. That's going to give me this tone. Just going to turn that off again while I talk to get rid of that noise. So that makes it really compressed and really easy to get those hammer on and pull off parts. And I'm just using that exact same tone when I go to that lower bit. Now what I will say when using that much compression is just to be careful of what strings you play. You really do need to be quite clean and precise with your left hand, because any extra noise is going to be amplified quite a bit. Now if you don't have pedals, that's fine. See what you can do with the amp. Basically just get a nice clean tone for the clean part, obviously. And then see if you can kind of get 3 different levels of distortion. So a bit of a crunch for the pop punk power chords, a little bit more for the next distorted part, and a little bit more than that for the last 2 lead parts. You can actually use the same tone for those as well. It's still going to work. What I tried to do here was try to replicate those tones from the original songs with what I had available. So that's what you should be going for at home. Don't buy these pedals just because that's what I'm using here. And there we go, guys. Hope that was some help. If you have any questions I haven't answered here, or any comments or requests for other songs or tones, leave it in the comment section below. Make sure to like and subscribe. I've got new lessons coming out every single week that you don't want to miss, and it really helps to support the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Sam. I'll see you next time.